This is a life lesson I got after writing my granddad's eulogy. And this is the eulogy to begin with. Our dada was a great man. And as you can hear from what everyone has said beforehand, he was very funny. In fact, I don't remember a single time when we would visit and he wouldn't have us laughing. That was his nature. And this is why we have so many more funny and memorable moments with him. He always spoke of being proud. He always wanted us to do things to make him and the family and ourselves proud. He mentioned this time and time again when we came around to visit, and this constantly being told to me definitely impacted how I live now. Well, now the time has come, Dada. I'm very thankful to have had you in my life for this long. I realize how lucky we are to have had you till 85, whilst others are not so lucky. Now the torch has been passed to us, and we hope to make you proud going forward in the generations and generations to come. And on closing, Dada, we are very, very proud of you. Now, this is something I wrote for my granddad after he passed away for his eulogy to be read at his funeral. And just think, like, I wrote that, and a few of my other cousins wrote some other things as well. But think about the words I've just said about a person, okay? And now think that those words, if you live your life in a fantastic way for your kids and your kids' kids and your kids' kids, someone's going to say something like that for you as well. And it kind of makes you think like that is genuinely the only important thing to focus on. Making sure that your legacy is set up and sees you as like the figure of striving for, as the example to live their life by, for example, right? So this is something that I wrote for my granddad, and you may have written something like this similar for your granddad, or you may have heard this, around for other people's granddads. But instead of thinking of all the relationships that you have that won't last, that trying to impress all the people you've met at a club or a networking event or different things like that in order to make a quick buck here and there, in order to be seen as a prestigious man or woman, to be given that feeling like you are something. Realistically, you are something to the people who are more closest to you, but sometimes when you're like a young 20-something, 30-something, you forget about that because you're so ambitious and career-driven and you want to set yourself up in life. But sometimes you can forget about the relationships that are so close to home that are really the main reasons for you even being here, and then also like to emulate your life in. Because granddad has his life with his wife, my grandmother, and they've created 4 children, and from those 4 children they've created about 8 or 9 of my cousins, and then from 8 or 9 of my cousins now we have 8 great grandchildren for my granddad and my grandma, and there's more to come. There's still more coming out this year and they haven't been born yet. My son's here, so that's 1 great grandchild there, and there's more to come. So from this one man and woman, my grandparents, came, what's that, like 20 something people, and more's coming, like this year alone and next year, because there's more marriages and there's more babies happening next year too. So that's like only 3 or 4 generations away from him, right? But what about the next generation? It'll probably likely be like 40 plus people coming out of that next generation. All the great grandkids have kids. That'll be like 40 plus people, probably more like 60. Then the next generation after that, that could possibly be about 300 people, right? All 5, that's like 5 generations away from my granddad, right? So it's crazy to think that that one person could have that much legacy going forward. But the really crazy thing is, when you put it back to you, you are going to be that person too. You're going to be that person that people think of as, the leader of the family, the dada or the grandmother that has passed now and people say nice things of. So that eulogy, that is actually probably a good way to live your life, because now I've only got fond memories of my grandparents and going there, they're making me food, making us laugh, etc., playing with us, etc. And that, in my personal opinion, is a way better thing to focus on and get better at in life, rather than just finding the buck, just making more money so you can afford the nicer car, the nicer house. Whereas there's relationships with the people who are literally in your family that will determine the happiness, fulfillment you have, and the carrying the torch effect for the generations and legacy to come. So with that being said, I hope that helped in some way, and I'll see you in the next video.